Welcome to the Zip Zero podcast. Zip Zero
With your host,
Shannon Griffin.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
What are you drinking on tonight?
A vodka in rehab.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
that's
Good stuff.
I don't think
I
I've
don't know
mixed
what to do.
those.
I don't know to go to sleep or wake up and go exercise.
I know what I do. I know which one I choose all the time.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Go to bed, sleep.
Yeah, I know that's how I am.
Yes, sir.
Exactly how I am. That's all right. It's good stuff though, man. It's I got a different vodka. I'm using I usually use Tito's.
That's
vodka.
good.
Yeah, I don't get a headache from it. Got Absolute tonight though. I got some free bottles of Absolute, so I figured I would partake.
I had an ex tell me that she could only drink high-end vodka because the other ones gave her a headache. And I'm like, well, I've gotten plenty of headaches from high-end vodka, so I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, depends on how much you drink.
Yeah,
I don't drink a lot of it, but anyway. So
drink all
what
of
else
it.
is going on, man? How's everything going?
Crazy, man. Just same stuff, just in the dad life and work. It keeps you occupied. And
Podcast is like you're putting out some good material, man. Looks like it's coming through.
we're trying to do one a week at least. It'll be good when things open back up and can actually get some people in studio and whatnot. It's just crazy getting everybody's schedules together. So
yeah, that's the hardest part, man. It's just, I mean, when you have free time, somebody else may not have free time, but it's just tough to sometimes to set aside an hour or two, depending on what you're talking about, know. But yeah, whatever.
There's a couple that I want to do on in line that will probably be fairly controversial and probably a little heated. So they might last like 10 minutes anyway before the person gets so pissed and leaves. But who knows? We've got
Well, hopefully the people that you're talking to about it knows that they're, it's kind of along the lines of something they want to talk about. So
yeah, we've been having a lot of odd protests and stuff downtown every Wednesday, and it's getting a lot more escalated lately.
In Raleigh?
No, here in Graham. They went into a restaurant this past after protesting, with all the stuff that's going on. And we also had someone that was shot recently, and they're not releasing the video, which is causing some crazy, people are just getting stirred up and riled up. But they've been protesting here every Wednesday for a year now. So last week they went to a restaurant and were banging on the tables and singing like they were doing some kumbaya sit-in. But it's not the same thing that they did sit-ins for in the 60s, 50s and 60s.
Well,
60s.
Protests aren't going to stop, man. I just think that's a way of life now. I mean,
Yeah.
people just find anything to protest about. But, talking about controversial stuff, a lot of people can't handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people can't just talk with an open mind and just have a conversation about it. And some people are so far one way that when you have that conversation, it's just they don't, like you said, they may not want to talk about it. But,
It's
truth is.
It's strange. There's a lot of things that are very factual that people don't want to take into consideration, and there's just a one-sided narrative. Usually, it seems like for somebody who's that hardcore about something that they want to waste an afternoon for 2 or 3 hours protesting something that really didn't affect their life, you're probably not going to change that person's mind. I got way too much stuff to do than to protest.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't have. I'm not saying protest is bad. It's good. I mean, it's there's been a lot of good protests in the past, but I just think people don't have anything to do, so they have so much of their time that's just dedicated to trying to find out what can piss me off today. What can piss me off, and it's just smallest thing, and they blow it out of proportion. To me, when you look at certain things, it's like, why are you even mad about it? There's no reason to be mad. But again, there's a lot of people you can't get through to. Doesn't matter what you say, you're wrong. So I don't know. It's a touchy situation now. I don't know. We're living in crazy times, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, there's definitely stuff wrong. I don't think it's nearly as bad off as everyone makes it out to be, but with social media and the news networks just exacerbating situations, amplifying them to a different level, it seems like the narrative is more important than the actual facts behind it, the numbers of actually things that are happening. So,
yeah.
Who knows, man?
Well, with all the protests that are going on, all the craziness that's going on, you think the world could handle the government coming out and actually, they're gearing up to share some kind of special information on UFOs. You think people can handle that shit, man?
Dude, I think they're dropping it down right now because everybody's looking to the left. Nobody's looking to the right over there where the UFOs are coming in.
They're not. You're going to look back and go, when the hell did they release that?
There'll be.
I figured they could slide it on in there and just forget everybody.
There will be aliens. There will be aliens doing press conferences 3 weeks before anybody's paying attention to it.
I know they're more worried about everything else. But how funny would that be, though, if they could just slip something in? A lot of people will catch it, but there's a lot of people that won't catch it. And I don't know. I mean, supposedly that's what's, obviously they're coming out with more information in some of the videos and stuff that are out there right now on YouTube and just regular news sources. I mean, they're talked about being like legit. Some of these, especially some of the ones that's been, I guess here, past week, I think they came out with one or two that's come out in the past week.
I was not even privy to it, and I'm interested in that stuff. See, that's how they're sneaking it in. Like, I want to hear it and I can't hear it.
Something come out the other day about there's quite a few news sources that came out and said that it was it was a viable photos, like it was reality. The Pentagon came out and said it was like legit.
Wasn't one like
covered up?
Wasn't one like a pyramid shaped craft that was chasing?
Yeah.
Was that a Navy ship that got that one too? An aircraft carrier or something?
I think so. Yeah, the video isn't very long; it's very short. But unless there's one out there that I don't know about, and it's possible it could be. But it's just crazy how. I mean, why would all this stuff be happening now? All of a sudden, why? I mean, how come now during the pandemic? I guess because everybody's home and bored and not doing anything. Because they said that during the pandemic, it has increased, dramatically the sightings of UFOs, or what they call it, a UAP, I think is another new name for them. So
an unidentified aerial phenomenon, is that what they're calling them?
I think that it's I was trying to find out what it is.
You a punk is what it is. You a punk.
For believing it. Yeah. I mean, well, I mean, they talk about why would, and I say it's just a lot of people that are, they're kind of on the fence. They don't want to be skeptical, but they may not be believers, but they have an open mind. It's like, why do, out of all the space out there, why would they come here? And usually if you look at where it's seen, it's always around military, installations or other aircraft.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why that would be. I mean, in reality, if they come here, they're far superior than we are.
By far, yes.
Yeah. So why in the hell would they come here to look at what we have?
Why don't we go to the zoo and watch rhinoceroses take a dump in a field?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know. Like maybe they're studying where they came from. Maybe it started here. I guess I guess you could look at it that way. And maybe they're looking at what a bunch of idiots everybody is now. Yeah. How much has this place changed since we left? A billion years ago.
Well, I mean, maybe not even that long ago. So like
it may not be. I mean, it could be. What were you saying?
Oh, you got all those situations where they can't really date how old the pyramids are, and some of the other stone structures that they think may be thousands of years older than previously thought.
So you think those were built by aliens?
I don't think they were built by aliens. I would think that there's a possibility that we could have been to a similar level of advancement and then something obliterated us, at one point in time, or made our numbers dwindle down to a point to where most history was lost of that. And all we have are those stone edifices and things like that just don't degrade over thousands upon thousands of years.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of amazing how they built some of those structures back then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're like they were perfect. I mean, just the dimensions and how, I mean, everything fit perfectly. And the squares, things they did, or the structures that are standing still. I mean, I agree with you. I think there was something more probably than everybody has taught or learned through education, that there's a different way to build them. I mean, it's crazy the things you have to have now to build structures that doesn't look anything near, like back then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just don't. I mean, with the stones and all that, even right now, I mean, I know it has to do with nobody's going to have 1,000 people out there pushing stones around,
right?
But it's crazy the things they have now, and it does make it easier. But back then, it just seems like the structures were built better. Seems, I mean, you got to think of how long they've been around.
There was a guy built, I believe he was in Georgia maybe, who built a Stonehenge very similar by himself, very similar to the one in England in scale, and lifted the stones by himself. And the way he did it was he had a fulcrum, and I don't know how he got the stone on the fulcrum in the first place, how he lifted one side, but once it was lifted up, you could weight one side and it would drip. Let's see what we get here. It would go down here, and then he would put something over here underneath it. So when he went back over here, it would go up, and he could put more on this side. So he just walked it up to the height he needed. I mean, it's pretty cool. Just doing that right there, I saw one of the problems it would have. You would really have to do it a little bit at a time, but it made sense when I watched it, more so than the, the whatever, the audio hum, moving it with sound, certain frequencies that allegedly happen.
I know for a long time they thought that had something to do with aliens and all that kind of stuff. Then they, can't remember. I thought I watched a documentary where they debunked that it was, obviously didn't have anything to do with that, but I can't remember what they said it had to do with or why they built it, but didn't have anything to do with any aliens coming to visit. But I guess everybody looks at a reason who believes in space, UFOs and all that kind of stuff. They look for anything that's a little irregular and want to, they just want to say it has to do with UFOs and, summoning spacecraft and all that kind of stuff, just like the crop circles and shit like that. That they had out in the field. Everybody thought it had to do with UFOs, and they were finding all these markings of that they can't explain how, things got burnt. And then they have this documentary on these guys that would go out in the middle of the night and they would make these crop circles,
I made a crop circle in my neighbor's field behind my house because he let his grass grow to about waist high. He lives in Texas, so I guess his stepson comes and mows it. And I took my mower and just did a perfect circle. I just locked the steering wheel. I thought it was hilarious. I'm sure he's probably not happy with it, but hey, it is what it is.
They should have made something. They go into a lot of shit to make those crop circles.
Oh yeah, bro.
I mean, the math and everything they put into it to make everything, perfect and everything symmetrical, and the design and everything. It's insane what they do. But
yeah, those geometrical shapes, they're really complicated, especially the spirals and extending the circle out. Even if you had ropes and whatnot, it seems pretty complicated to me.
I think what was funny is that when they actually did the document, I can't remember the name of it. It's out there somewhere. It's probably several of them. But when they came out and talked about how they actually had people that do them, still the people that fought against that to say that it had to do with UFOs. And I was like, look, you got people telling you this we did it. This is how you You still have people going, nah, there's no way. It's UFOs, you know.
We have video of us
So,
doing it, and they're like, no,
Yeah,
it was
no.
still a UFO for sure.
So I don't know. It just seems like lately this past year, especially with the pandemic, they had a news article about it, how it increased so much, the sightings, just the past year compared to like the past 10 years. And I don't know if it's I don't know if people are more trying to be more aware of it now, because the Pentagon has actually came out and said, okay, so maybe the people don't feel like they're going to be criticized as much.
Mhm.
There are people that don't want to be ostracized by this kind of stuff, but I think that's part of it. But I don't know. It just seems like I'm waiting for that big bomb to drop to see how everybody reacts.
But there's nothing going to convince people that don't believe unless there is a UFO sitting on the tarmac with a random alien beside it. Until that happens,
do you think they're? I mean, do you believe that they're actually the UFOs are from another place outside of? I mean, I'm assuming it would be outside of our solar system and maybe galaxy. I'm assuming
they would have to have some crazy time warping technology. Have you seen the illustration? That's a video that's on YouTube of how long it takes a photon particle from the sun to get to the end of our solar system. It takes forever. Like it takes forever. I don't. If I'm not mistaken, it seems like it might take almost a year at the speed of light, and we can't travel that.
No. And they were talking about there was another one we ran across, another documentary we ran across that was talking about that type of stuff and wormholes and things like that, you know, out there that you could actually, they think that you could actually pass through that could put you in another place and another time a lot faster than if you were just to, you know, whatever, fly straight. I don't understand all that stuff. But anyway, the wormhole, that's what it was for. It was actually, it was like a bridge from one place to another, and you could pass a shit ton of time in a very short amount of time. You know, it's like you could go how many light years away in no time. So
it's fascinating. Now, do I believe other life forms exist out in this vast universe? 100%. 100%. Do they come here? I don't know. I think it's just as likely that future versions of ourselves are time traveling as much as it is someone's traveling from as far away as they would have to travel to come see us.
Yeah, see, that right there would kind of, if you elaborate on that, would probably blow somebody's mind to think that. Because I was just thinking about something the other day about that. You know, what if there is another planet? We probably talked about this, but what if there was another planet like ours that's inhabitable somewhere else, way out there? And you know how they say you have a doppelganger here, right? There's always somebody that looks just like you. All right. So Shannon's somewhere else across the world, somewhere, could be in your neighborhood. I don't know. But what if there was somebody on another planet somewhere that was basically you? So that whole nother dimension type thing, but it's in a different planet, and you have another Shannon there doing the same things you're doing it, maybe at a different time, whether it's before, it could be before you. And I'm going to tie this into Deja Vu. You know, you have that where you sit there and you think, you go, wait a second, that happened before. What if, because I was talking about a movie that I thought would be pretty cool to shoot, would be you write a story about that, how you have somebody there, that person is doing something, and then you're doing that same thing maybe a day or two later, but you do the same thing. It's the same type of individual, look alike, act alike, almost living the same life you are, but it's on a different planet. Could be so many solar systems away.
Well, I mean,
but y'all are tied. Somehow you're tied together,
just based off of sheer numbers of an endless expanse of galaxies and universe we have. Just by sheer numbers, it's got to be pretty close anyway. There's a possibility of a doppelganger that's as good looking as you are somewhere else, Maybe has hair.
I think, yeah, I know. I think it's just, I was thinking the other day, just how cool would it be to know something like that existed, to where you have another one of you. And that's why deja vu occurs. And I know there's another scientific reason why it probably occurs, but you get that feeling. I've done this. I've been here before. I've done this, so that would be pretty cool to be in a, and you, one day you meet that person, but y'all are connected somehow.
So like a string theory kind of scenario, or there's particles that actually communicate and act, that are in different locations that react exactly the same, even on Earth.
Yeah.
Right. Allegedly, they've discovered that fairly recently, or the theory is getting more solidified. But it's pretty fascinating that everything might be more connected than we think.
Like you could be, you're connected to somebody on the East Coast and moves to the West Coast. And then heard a guy talking about it the other day, and it's crazy. It's hard to listen to because it really hurts your brain to think about it. Because how you can always be connected, and you're always somehow, I don't know. It's really, it damages your brain almost trying to think about it, but it's fascinating to me. And that's the type of stuff that I think about. It just kind of really, it's hard to wrap your head around, because I feel like that shit don't exist, and it may not, but it's cool to think about that. If you're thinking about somebody coming to see us from, wherever the hell it is, and for some reason are coming to this planet, this fucked up planet, where people, everybody seems like they've lost their mind. And that's probably it might be why they're coming back. They're probably up there with popcorn, just eating, just watching the whole thing melt down.
Right. It's
they're just gonna look at these guys.
Look at these guys
just keeping us from pushing the big button to drop all the nuclear weapons. They're keeping us from doing that. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we saw a lot of UFO sightings increase once the Roswell incident happened. So the theory with that is that people started looking more towards the skies after the fact to see if they could see something that was abnormal. So you're going to get random sightings, period. After that, from movement in the sky, random, I don't guess they had satellites then. They didn't really have a need for them, but meteorites, things like that, or just weird aerial phenomenon. There's stuff here that's even crazier to me than a UFO. UFO seems explainable, but like there's light orbs, or even here in North Carolina, the Brown Mountain lights that nobody can explain.
Where's that at?
Brown Mountain. It's in the mountains. I don't
know if I've heard of that.
The Brown Mountain lights. So it's an old myth that, some people say that it's aliens, whatever, because everything's aliens if they can't explain
Everything is.
Bigfoot. But exactly. So it could be Bigfoot with a flashlight. Who knows? But the theory is that it's like old Civil War ghosts looking for their loved ones, or something to that effect. And that even goes back to the Indians or the Native Americans beforehand. They had tales of spirits walking, and you can stand. It usually happens more in the fall, but at one overlook, it looks like weird flashes of light throughout, and there's no cars, there's no highway there, and it's just like pulses of light throughout the woods and the wilderness.
But it's actually brown lights.
No, it's Brown Mountain lights. So Brown Mountain is where it's at, and
okay.
A brown light.
That's weird, brown lights.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what a brown light would look like.
I don't even know what it would look like. I know. That's why I was sitting there going. I was trying to think what a brown light looked like, because no yellow lights, but
no, whatever. I think they have
That's
like
cool.
They have like a greenish blue glow. I'm sure that they have. Everybody's probably seen every color out there, but there's never been an explanation. I have not seen them. I've always wanted to take a trip because Brown Mountain's not too far from where I grew up.
Can you camp up there?
Yeah, you can camp up there. The thing is that
is it safe?
Yeah, I guess, unless those are aliens doing probing stuff. The thing, there's a huge overlook, and any of the videos that you can watch are taken, I think, from the same overlook. Because if you're in the woods, you're not going to see very far. But it just seems like it's in a distance, and they're so far apart. There's not one consistent area, so you're watching over this huge, expanse of mountainous region, and you'll see one flash. It's almost like a shooting star. You know, I bet there's a lot of times that people see it, and by the time you can turn your eyes to look at it, it's gone.
Right.
But I don't know of anybody who's seen them themselves or have told me they've seen them. But I've seen some videos online. It's pretty compelling. Not compelling enough, I guess, for me to drive 45 minutes to go hang out there from where I grew up. But as I've gotten older, maybe.
Well, like I said, I mean, maybe it's a camping weekend or something like that. If it's a cool place to camp, depends.
Yeah. And I think it's in the fall.
Out.
So when it gets cooler, that might not be a bad idea.
I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's a good explanation for it.
They've been through the whole mess of possible, like methane gas being released and ignited for some reason, or the weird light orb thing that, you know, occasionally people see. It doesn't make any sense.
People like to believe in ghosts for sure. I mean, you know, I've been down that road. I've investigated a lot of places, a lot of cool places.
Yeah, I've done that with you one time.
I know. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, it's good to think about. Is it, you know, do I believe in it? I don't say I do or I don't. I think I have an open mind to it. But I'm also I'm not scared to say that I believe in them. I mean, because nobody knows. Nobody will ever know. You know, you don't. I mean, nobody knows unless you've like come face to face with something that you can't explain.
Yeah.
And I haven't. I've, you know, being in the places that I've been in, investigating all hours in the morning, I've had some pretty cool experiences as far as getting some, you know, vocals and stuff like that you can't explain. But you know, there's other things that have happened too that you it happens to you right then, and it scares the shit out of you. And then you come back and you listen and you pay attention to what you were doing and everything. And then you go, oh, I know what that was. That's nothing. That was this, you know? So there's things that can be explained if you allow it to be explained.
Yeah.
If you close your mind off and go, oh, that knock, it was not normal. It's never been done before. You know, I mean, it could be anything. You don't know. But I think I don't know. People like to believe in it. They enjoy believing in it. But I will say that, you know, I think everybody should investigate some crazy place one time, because it does make you think a little different. You know, when it's, you know, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and you're in pitch black, you don't understand how it's weird, first of all, to sit there and try to investigate a place when it's pitch black and you're just standing
being
there
quiet.
doing things. Yeah, because people look at, you know, they watch the TV shows and they think everything is happening all the time. And majority of the time, nothing happens. You just sit there and you're bored off your ass. But it takes one thing to make you start to pay attention to what's going on around you, because it's like, you know, you hear something, it will scare the shit out of you if you know, somewhere, you know, by yourself or whatever.
Well, your senses are already heightened. So anything that would normally, what you wouldn't notice, you're already paying attention to. Like temperature changes and weird noises and, you know, light aberrations in your eye, things like that. You're just constantly like looking for something, because that's what you're doing. You're searching for something, and it really feels, you know, it is boring if nothing's happening, but then all of a sudden it gets pretty exciting if it gets a little creepy, which could be, you know, mice or random other stuff running around.
It could be anything. We investigated a fort one time here, and I did catch some stuff. It sounded like boots walking. Can't explain it. Nobody can explain it because nobody was around. It was just me. Nobody was even close. But there was another time that we thought it sounded like somebody moving, and we figured out that it was rats is what it was in there. Mm-hmm. So, and then once you put eyes on it and know that that's there, you realize, okay, that's exactly what it sounds like. So every time it happens, you know what it is, or the big ass cockroaches that are running around and flying and hitting things. You know? So, I don't know. It's cool stuff. I mean, but it's one of those things. It's like UFOs or anything else. I mean, if you believe in it, you believe in it. It's fun to investigate it. I've never been anywhere to look at UFOs. Now I know out at Area 51 they have this, I don't know, whatever place it is close to the gate, I guess the main gate or whatever that people go to. But I don't know if I'd risk my life for it. Seems like a lot of those people get kind of crazy, but
they're not really going to risk their life for it. They're a lot like a lot of other people. There are a lot of talk. I'm pretty sure. How many people have been shot on Area 51?
I mean, nobody that I know of.
Yeah, it's never been reported. So you'd think that you definitely would be in the news nowadays if it happened.
You think they have a lot of shit out there?
I think they've got a lot of experimental aircraft that they're trying out. Now it is odd that they had what seemed to be an exponential leap in stealth technology and various other speed technology after the Area 51 incident allegedly happened.
Yeah.
There was a
because
exponential growth in technology for flight.
As I say, you showed the we did a podcast on your podcast where you showed, I think, a hovercraft.
Oh yeah, the UFO one. Yeah, that looks ridiculous.
Yeah, 5 miles an hour. It looked like. Yeah, I agree, man. I think it is kind of funny how the leap that we made so fast. And I know they keep it quiet, and they keep it quiet for a reason, but it's like it's all of a sudden you have these stealth bombers and stuff. Now you don't know how long they've been working on them, and there's a lot of smart people too that figure that technology out. But there's also people that work there that have come out and talked about the things that they've seen, the things that they've been involved with, the things that they were in there doing reverse engineering on, which was space, UFOs. So alien spacecraft, I guess you could say. But so I don't know. I think it would be very intriguing for them to come out and say something or show something that they have, something that they found. But again, it goes back to my earlier question. I mean, how would the public react? I mean, could they handle something like that? I mean, shit, they can't handle a lot of stuff now.
I don't know, man. I don't even know if it would hit people's radar if they would even care right now. They're too busy worried about getting their stimmy checks and, whatever else they're trying to go through now that they think affects them immediately within their realm. If they've never seen an alien, they don't give a crap about an alien. If they're not coming to take over the United States, it's not going to do anything for them. So they're probably not going to pay attention.
Well, as long as, like you said, though, as long as they got their check, they'll be okay with it. They can go spend it on bread, milk, and eggs and all the stuff.
Bro, those checks aren't getting spent on bills. There's so many Jordans getting sold right now and such random crap being bought.
TVs and things like that. Yeah.
You see those TV racks get cleared after those stimulus checks, man.
I know. Well, it's everything, man. I mean, I guess in reality, that's what it's supposed to be for. It's supposed to stimulate the economy. But, people out there acting, you act like you're rich, Yeah. They get that paycheck and all of a sudden they act like they got money. Well, knowing that money just came from what they made previously. Yeah. So it's not like they just printed new money to give to you.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue is if you watch how people spent their stimulus check, it gives you the perfect idea of how they spend their money normally. And they're going to, I guess it comes back to when I used to be a loan officer and we used to refinance people's mortgages to consolidate their debt. And I knew that if I could look through the files from 5 years ago, I could find those people and they were going to be in the same position they were in before. And they would be a reoccurring customer, because they would have the same spending problems because the discipline wasn't there. If you see how a lot of this money is being spent now, it's not, some of it may be going to rent, but it seems like a lot of frivolous things are being purchased with it. I mean, I'm not going to judge anybody with how they spend their money, but if you're complaining about starving and you're wearing $200 shoes, you and I are going to have some kind of a discussion that we won't be able to meet on the same playing field.
No, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, you can't complain about money and then, and then in the same breath talk about how you got to go shopping for your clothes. And you have to look good, and you have to have, like you said, I mean, to me, $200 pair of shoes for a lot of people is pretty cheap. I mean, they're spending a lot more money than that on shoes. But it's like, oh, I got to have the best pair of shoes, money can buy. And it's like, where's your priorities, man?
Yeah.
I get it. If you got the money, it's fine. But if you don't, if you have $500 in your checking account, you don't need to go spend $400 on clothes.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't.
I don't know, man. There's maybe the aliens do need to come down.
Maybe they do.
And set everything straight, get us back on track of what's important, I guess, with survival. Maybe they'll come with knowledge of what happened to their planet.
With money.
Intergalactic currency.
I mean, how much is it? Well, I mean, look at all the crazy coins and stuff like that. That's making money.
Yeah.
I mean, you got what? Bitcoin. You got
Doge. Is it Doge or Doge? Dogecoin.
Doge, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that shit. Did you buy into that?
No, because every time I buy into anything like that, it just shits the bed. So I'm not a gambler when it comes to that.
That's not even a real thing. And it got so much popularity and so much run. People were actually making a shit ton of money, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 plus on that.
Yeah.
They were making in like a week on a fake coin or whatever the hell it is.
I mean, well, if you think of it, I mean, we're not backed by gold in the US dollar anyway anymore. It's the same thing. It's just,
it is.
Well,
I mean, it's a piece of,
yeah.
You look at a dollar bill. It's just a piece of paper that somebody wrote a number on it. Say, hey, this is, you need 5 of these right here to come buy this piece.
It's a promissory note that the United States backs for payment of debt. Past that, if people start losing hope and faith in the system that is the United States dollar, it doesn't matter how much money we have saved up. It's not going to be worth anything.
Well, that's, weren't they talking one time wanting to get rid of that? Wanting to get rid of currency?
The United States or in the world in general?
I thought we were talking about trying to get rid of currency here.
I don't believe so. I haven't heard that, but
I thought I heard that somewhere. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe somebody's saying they wish they would get rid of it, but I don't know. It's. I mean, you think about it. Checks are really all but obsolete. I mean, that's basically the same thing. That's, you're writing a number on it and you were giving it to somebody and you go, hey, that's telling you that I'm giving you $300. And when you run it through or you take it to the bank, they're going to transfer that to your account. Yeah. Same thing with cash. You give somebody cash, I'm giving you $300. You're taking it from your account and giving it to them. It's the same thing. And all it is a piece of paper with a number that somebody decided that that's what that is worth. Mm-hmm. Same thing with products. I mean, it's like this iPhone. What is it really worth? I mean, it's not worth anything. I mean, somebody just gave it a value.
Right. But think of that phone 15 years ago. If you put that in someone's hand, that was so far ahead. That would have been $30,000 back then, maybe 20 years
easily.
ago.
Yeah, probably.
No,
that's what I'm saying, though. It's weird if you think about it. That's another thing that's hard to wrap your head around. We give value to things that somebody goes and tells you, I'm selling you a phone for $999. Is it worth that? No, it's not worth that. It's worth that to them because they need to make a certain amount on it. But in reality, it didn't cost that much to make because the things that cost to make that, they put value on that as well. Mm-hmm. Everything has a value set to it. So it's crazy how we put the weird values. Like if you go into the medical field, there's a pill that costs like $25 to bring to market, but yet they put a value on it of $2,000 when you want to purchase it. So that's the thing. It's crazy how we look at money and we have to have 2,000 pieces of paper,
right?
2,000 pieces of paper to give to this guy for
whatever he had worth 2,000 pieces of paper.
A jar of powder that's been hardened so that you can take it and get rid of keep your blood pressure down.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I know it's that because it just so happens I was talking about that my mom she got put on some kind of medicine that was it was $500 per prescription. And when I went to see her in the hospital, one of the doctors were in there, and she told me, she goes, well, he's putting me on this medicine, and I'm really not for medicine, but so I get kind of aggravated about it when she talks about it, and she's like, I got to pay $500. I was like, $500? And he goes, yeah, it's pretty expensive. I said, really? How much did that medicine cost in reality? Because I can promise you that medicine ain't worth $500.
Yeah.
He goes, oh no, well, if you have insurance, it costs like $15. All right, so it's $500 if you're not in the whole scam of insurance, right? You don't have an insurance policy to pay for that. So that tells you, right, to me, that tells you that ain't worth $500. How can you, I mean, you're getting it for $15.
Right, but it's worth $500 to compensate the difference of people who don't pay for it when insurance covers the other costs.
I know, but taking out all the shit that runs everything up with insurance, I mean, I get that part. I know there's a whole checks and balances and all that stuff, and with people that don't pay and people that do pay, and that's why companies get rid of their insurance companies and go with new insurance companies, because you got people in there that have too many things that go wrong. You have somebody has to have brain surgery or something, your insurance is going to go up, so they're going to have to try to go somewhere else and get a cheaper insurance policy. Somebody that'll offer something else to you. It's a big racket. I mean, I don't know why companies can't, if you got to have medicine, why can't it just go from you have the medicine, you give it to this person, you just go buy it,
If you look, so one payer system would be awesome, like the government in concept. But if you look what happened to the university system once the government backed student loans, and then the cost of universities skyrocketed, the cost of college is ridiculous right now. There's no way people are going to get the return on their investment anymore. And that's because you
can't get a return on that investment.
No. I mean,
at all.
Maybe a few, but I would say the vast majority takes a long time to pay that money back, and they could have easily made more than that by work experience.
Yeah. Well, I am a firm believer that school should not cost that much to go and get an education. I'm not a believer in paying people's debt off, because if you're going to pay school debt off, as somebody that wanted to go to school and they took on that debt knowingly, this is what it's going to cost, I shouldn't be responsible for that. Because if you're going to do that, take away my mortgage, pay my mortgage for me.
Yep.
Yes, I do want to pay it because it's part of having pride. You want to pay it off. But I mean, with all things being equal, I knew what I was getting into when I bought the house. So why don't you just go ahead and wipe that out for me? Matter of fact, while you're at it, go ahead and wipe the cars out for me too. I'll take that.
That 2008, 2009 market crash, a lot of it was based on mortgages. And because banks were giving them too much money, and people are so effing stupid that they're like, okay, I can afford a $500,000 house when they should really be looking at $150,000 house, and they get in over their head. And
I think back then, I think the problem that people got into back then is, they were extending. They would run somebody's credit and go, okay, you make $100,000 a year. Yes. $500,000 house. Perfect. You can get that. And people are like, oh, really? Okay. But then they would go, well, hey, do you want a regular 30-year loan? Or do you want a 5-1 ARM, or do you want a 3-1 ARM, or whatever? And when they give them that 5-1 ARM or whatever it was, and they have even a lower payment for that certain amount of time before it hits, and goes up to what it should be for the rest of the term. I think that's what got people in trouble too. I had a friend of mine that bought a house that was way too expensive for him. Because we made, at that time, and it was right before that, we made the same amount of money. And that's what he did. He went and bought an expensive house, real expensive house. I was like, dude, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, yeah, they gave me a good loan. And, next thing you know, he couldn't afford it anymore. And then he was bitching and crying about it. And it was like, look, you signed up for that. You knew good and well that that term was going to change at some point, and now the market crashed and your house ain't worth, what it should be worth. I mean,
that's what I'm scared about right now is all these people buying houses over market value. That's got to correct itself. And there's going to be more people sitting in upside down loans on their homes because, those values are not going to stay up. They'll eventually get there with inflation and whatnot and areas being developed. But if you're looking for a quick flip, right now is not the time to be buying a house.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of states that went through that when that market crashed. They're like, take Michigan, for instance. I remember that because they just harped on it forever that a lot of places up there, a lot of places in the Midwest, people were trying to get out of their houses and they couldn't because they were so far upside down, which is weird because normally it's a vehicle that you get upside down in, not a house. Houses usually, become a profitable thing to have, because they, like you said, they do go up in value. And as you pay your house down, the value stays there because somebody wants it at some point, right? Nobody wants a car that's 20 years old and nobody's going to pay $35,000 for it, but a house is $300,000 and you pay that thing down and you only owe $100,000 and there's like not a lot of people selling homes around. That's a popular place. People will pay high dollar for it because that's where they want to be, but up there, I just remember so many people struggled. They're trying to sell their house, and when they did, they still had a loan balance. I think that's why you saw an increase in bankruptcy and things like that around that time. People are just, walking away from everything.
Yeah, it was easier for them just to shirk their responsibility than suck it up and continue to work through it.
I mean, I couldn't imagine having something like that to where you had to worry about that stress every day. I mean, it was stressful for me. I mean, because it sucked. I had a house and ended up I rented it out. But it was, it lost value. Now it wasn't upside down. It was pretty much a break even. It was a break even when it was sold. I sold it for basically, what I owed on it is what I mean, it wasn't, I didn't make any money on it. Didn't lose money, didn't make money. And it sucked because it was worth at that time, I don't know, $65,000 to $75,000 more than what, I sold it for, which sucks because, I mean, it sucks to lose money like that.
Oh yeah.
To me, that's a lot of money. And, but yes, it goes back to what you said, at some point the market will correct itself, and it always does. It has fluctuations. Hopefully it's just not as bad as in 2008, hopefully. I mean, we're comfortable where we're at right now. So, so I tell the wife, let's just sit here and keep paying it down. I mean,
you got a whole lot of people that make bad decisions. They want somebody else to fix it for them. I mean, I don't know if that's an education system problem, a general IQ problem, or what, but you got a tremendous amount of people that are making bad financial decisions. And when the guy comes to collect the pay for whatever debt it is, they don't have it, and then it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
I've never tried to live beyond my means. I've always bought more modest homes or something within my price range. I qualified for twice as much money, if not more, than the first house I bought. And there's no way I could have afforded to live if I would have bought what I qualified for.
Yeah. No, I mean, I qualified for like that. It was like 2 or 2.5 times more than what I bought. But I didn't do it. I wasn't going to buy that. Like, there's no way. I don't want to be in that situation. You didn't see the situation coming, but I didn't want to be in a situation where I had to worry about paying the damn house payment every month.
Yeah.
And not be able to afford food for, to put on the table. So I went with what I knew, what was in that price range, in that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some people don't, man. I mean, you see people
It's
that,
that big baller syndrome, man. Everybody wants to show what you got.
yeah.
You know, they want to play that game, and it's not a fun game to play. You know,
I've seen it get a lot of friends in trouble, man. I've seen it get a lot of friends in trouble.
I know. You know, that's those people that want to be, they're just posers. They just want to show, hey, I got money. You know damn well they don't have money.
Nah, you roll up in an $80,000 car or truck and you live in a single wide trailer that you're renting from somebody, and you know you're not making enough money to even eat or pay your bills. It's ridiculous.
See it, man. You see it all the time. It's about what you drive, about what you show. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm not never gave a shit about that really. I want nice stuff. You know, don't get me wrong. I mean, and you know, we have nice cars and we have a nice house, but it's not, I mean, it's not over the top.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing crazy, but it's, you know, it's also not bad. It could be worse. So, but you're also in a position, you put yourself in a position if something does go wrong, something happens, you can take care of it still.
Yep.
You can make it work, you know, even though you're not asking people for handouts to pay for everything. I mean, you know, I wish somebody would have paid for my education.
Right. I mean, I had a little bit of help for some scholarship stuff, but other than that, dude, I had to work full time. So all these kids talking about how hard college was and all they did was go to class and spend their parents' money. I would have loved to slap them in their face because they have no idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, getting college grants and all that's different, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, some of these kids, I mean, they have no choice and they're led down that way to go, hey, it's going to cost, you know, it's going to end up costing you 50, 60,000, I don't know, 80,000, whatever it is. And they're like, okay. Because they think when they come out, they're going to be making all this money. Yeah. Well, I'm going to a field where I'm going to be making a lot of money. No, not necessarily. You know, not necessarily. So, I think it's just a generational thing, man.
Well, you know as well as I do. I went back to school at 27 to get my business degree with a focus in marketing at UNCW. And while I was there, I was in class. You can tell a lot of the professors don't have real life experience. They went to school. They continued to go to school until they got their doctorate. They might have worked in the field for a couple years, and then they went to being a professor teaching, which sounds to be a pretty sweet gig. I mean, you do a lot of research, whatever, but most of the things they teach you, you're just like, that's not used in real life at all. Not at all.
No. And I think that's a big problem with education in general. I've had this discussion with people about certain types of math and things like that, and just certain subjects that you take, and it's like, why do I need this? And I'm a believer that there's a lot of things that you're taught that you're not going to need later in life. You're just not. It's education. There's nothing wrong with a good education and just learning things. But I think what would help with school, with like college and stuff, and I could be way off on this, is that if you go into, you know, whatever college you want to go to, you take that entrance exam, right? In English and math and all that, find out how high you score. And if you do good, there's a lot of things you just wipe out. You can go, you know, and then you can head straight into your major, whatever that is. You know, for one, it's going to cut down on time that you're there, right? I don't think you need to be there for 2 years of getting Englishes and histories and sciences and maths and all when you're going into a field that doesn't necessarily need the majority of that. I think that's where you lose so much time. You know, you could cut it down to just go into your major. You know, if it's something that you want to have, you had to be really good in English and stuff, fine. But you don't necessarily need histories, you know, depending on what you're going to do. Like the different things that you're going to go into and study. Different programs might need it, but I just think they need to really hone in on what exactly that you need to get that degree, you know, to move along.
Yeah.
And just cut that period of time down.
Well, that's what vocational schools or community colleges are for, you know, for those specific ones.
Yeah, but it's the prestige, man.
I get it, bro.
These kids want to go to Harvard and shit like that. And, you know, it's like, you know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just they're expensive as shit. I mean, look, we put a kid in private school. I think I should be able to write that off on taxes, but you know what? I can't.
Yeah.
You know?
And your taxes are paying for the public schools.
Yeah, we're paying for private and public. Yeah. So that's what sucks.
Yeah. There's the private school thing. I get it. I mean, I think most of my friends that went to private schools at some point in time had a pretty rude awakening when it came to real life. You know, once they actually assimilated into normal society and their interactions with people weren't so controlled, seemed to be a little more ridiculous for them. But
I think I don't know. The school systems where I'm at is terrible. So public schools are terrible here. So that's the main reason. I mean, you want them to have a good education. But that's the main reason, the big guys in private school. But I mean, I went to private school, I mean, I'm not a complete asshole. But,
well, I mean, I went to public school and I am. So, I mean, maybe that's not the.
That's just all, I don't know. I think it really depends on, the kid, the family, and, that type of stuff. I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
I get it.
I mean, maybe the aliens will come here and make better schools too. They make better aircraft than we have.
Seems like it. So, you can't even see them. Stealth technology.
Hey, Men in Black, they said they're actually around us. They walk in everyday life. You never know.
So think about this. So we were talking about deja vu, talking about ghosts. What if essentially time is like an old cassette tape and it is constantly re-recorded over the same, and you're just seeing ghosted images of previous time in that loop?
Could be. Anything could be possible, man.
I mean, we're in the Matrix right now. I mean, if you ask Elon Musk, we're in a simulation.
Yeah, I mean, think about. I mean, what you said it earlier about. We were talking about, how everything was made way back when, all the pyramids and the just different structures and stuff like that. And I'm talking about how it could have been made. Nobody really knows exactly how it was made. They paint pictures and stuff like that, but it could be a whole part of history that was lost that nobody knew. Nobody knows, about exactly, maybe certain types of machinery and stuff. I know they dig for shit and they find stuff, but
but think about this. If, we went through where most of our technology came through was during the industrial age when we were burning coal and fossil fuels. How different would it have been if we would have found a different source of energy in the beginning and utilized that? How would things look differently now? Tesla had developed the ability to project electricity through the air, essentially, and you could utilize that. But if you look into that wouldn't work with today's technology with phones and things like that. There'd be too much interference. So we wouldn't if we had free electricity like that, then we wouldn't have a lot of the technology we have today, or it would look very different or react very different.
Well, think if Elon Musk would have been where he's at now 50 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, think if he was the Benjamin Franklin doing this stuff back then, where would we be right now?
He would have been flying a kite with a key on it.
Shit, we could be living on another planet right now. He's trying hard to get to Mars, man.
Yeah, Elon Musk is Iron Man. His Iron Man and Batman are the same dude. Their superpower is money, and that is what Elon Musk is. His superpower is money.
Well, dude, he's doing it. I mean, he's talking about now about taking people to Mars, and he's telling them that, if you want to go, great, come on, let's go. But just know that there's a chance you're not coming back. It's could be a one-way trip, but it's going to be a fun trip.
Yeah.
That's kind of how he sells it. It's going to be it's once in a lifetime trip. It's like, yeah, but I want to be able to come back with that lifetime experiences and share it with people.
Yeah.
What good is a once in a lifetime thing if you can't share it with somebody?
You'd have to share it with the same people who experienced it.
If you make it there.
Yeah. But think about this.
Make it too much.
That the Mars thing blows my mind. That it's cool that we want to go there. We might want to colonize it, maybe terraform it to where it's livable. Because supposedly the Earth might become extinct because of our situation here. Okay. Yeah. Think of it that way. Mars right now is what this planet would look like if we had millions of years of us screwing it up already, environmental wise.
Yeah. And Mars already looks like that.
Exactly. So
yeah,
you're developing technology from Mars that we probably could utilize here and be well ahead of the game to correct things that would go wrong. In the future.
Well, I mean, Musk even said when you go there, you're gonna have to live underground anyway. I mean, how fun would that be?
Right.
I mean, that would be shitty, to be honest with you. I think it would be. It would be cool if you knew for a fact that you could go there, live for like a year, experience it, help, do whatever, and then come your ass back to Earth. And it probably would help you appreciate it a little bit more too.
Mm-hmm. Why don't we just do this? We'll take people, put them in a simulated spaceship, bring them down and land them in the simulation, send them in a cave, make them live underground here for a while, and they'll think they're on Mars. They wouldn't know any different than simulate it coming back.
How do we know they're not simulating the whole thing to Mars anyway?
Hey, it's quite possible. What do you think about the hollow Earth theory?
Oh, man.
That's where all the dinosaurs live. That's where the land before time is.
That's where everybody's at right now.
Yeah,
the core of the Earth.
I haven't
where all the magma and everything is, where it's super hot.
I think I think the new King Kong versus Godzilla movie is based off of that hollow Earth theory. There's a portal that you go through to get there, which is weird. And you're underground, but there's still like a sunrise and sunset. I don't know. There's a lot of things that really don't make sense from what I've read in the reviews of that movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Heard it was pretty good, but I don't know. That falls in line with the whole flat Earth thing to me.
Yeah,
I mean, it's that one. That one's a little more far fetched. The middle of the Earth type thing. I mean, flat Earth is pretty far fetched. And I know that's what we learn. I know it's like a lot of things. It's what you learn, and people are, brainwashed to think certain things, and they've always have been. That's why the media is there. That's what the government does. They want you to think a certain way. The Earth ain't flat, though. The Earth is not flat.
I don't think that they've done research too that they don't think that very many humans have ever thought that it was flat.
There's a big group of them. If you watch Behind the Curve,
no. I mean,
watch that yet?
I know now, but I'm talking. Yeah. They keep saying that back in the day, people thought the Earth was flat, and if you sailed too far, you'd fall off the edge. But there's been a lot of evidence found that those people thought the world was round too, or a spheroid, however you want to say it, not round. But
well, I think people just want to discover something. They just want to act like they know something and bring it out and prove everybody wrong. But it's not flat. I mean, unless we actually did not go to the moon, or we did not actually orbit the Earth a bunch of times, and even lately, the pictures that they get of the Earth, even it could be fake, I guess. If somebody, I don't know, if somebody did a dramatic hoax on, what the Earth would look like, I don't know.
Man, you have to have extremely high antennas in the ocean, because at 5 miles your boat disappears over the horizon.
Yeah.
There's been many tests done, and I forget which science show it was on, but they had this laser pointed across the water, and they had these boards that were going up this ship. So if they went 3 to 5 miles out, it would have changed locations, the laser. And then when they got there and it was completely off, it was way higher than they thought it was going to be. The guys who thought the flat Earth thing was the truth, they're all looking at each other, and you just see their balloon gets deflated. From all the stuff
They did that on. They did a test like that on behind the curve.
Yeah,
they did that. They documented it, and they went out. They set out to do that with a laser, and right there on film, it proved them wrong.
Yeah, it might have been the same test I saw. I just didn't see that movie.
But then it was like, it was almost like they were like trying to figure out, something was wrong, or it just didn't go right that time, And it's like, look, man, you just blew holes all in your flat Earth thing right there on your own documentary, So, but I mean, look, they have conventions and stuff for that, and it's there are some compelling theories to why it could be flat.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple things that you listen to, and it's, hey, that's okay, But then there's just everything else. Like, come on, now you're getting a little crazy.
But anything you say with confidence, and if you convey it as the truth, there's some other idiot that's going to believe it.
Well, there is an idiot that leads the group that thinks that we're in like a Hollywood set. It's like a bubble over the flat Earth, and that it's like a Hollywood set, how the moon and everything works, and the sun and all that. It's like it's a Hollywood set that we're living in. It's like, come on, what are you smoking, man? I mean, you got to have a better theory than that, because they make these things that they make designs of the flat Earth. That's what it is. They say there's actually a dome over us.
Yeah, and then Antarctica is the ice ring that's around the outside edge.
There's like I want to say they said like a 400-foot wall of ice or something at the end, but yet nobody's ever found it.
Right, or gone over it.
There's people that have sailed around the world. I mean, there's people that have flown around the world. You think that you would see a wall of ice somewhere blocking, I guess cutting off. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. It's one of those conspiracy theories. It's just weird how people think that it's actually true, and they go to bed sleeping at night knowing that the Earth is flat.
I've been reading some of Graham Hancock's books lately, and right now I'm reading Fingerprints of the Gods, and it's delving into a lot of that historical technology that we don't understand or we can't replicate now. And it's a very long book, so I'm about a quarter of the way through it. So I'm waiting to see what happens. Are the aliens real? Did he tell us?
I got to watch the documentaries, man. I try to read books, and I want to read, and I want to get better at reading books, like full books. But I mean, I can read. It came out the wrong way. I can read. I just want to get better at physically picking up a book and going through it. But documentaries are just so much easier to watch.
Yeah. But some of those documentaries are so much more full of shit, and then they are. Now, I loved Ancient Aliens on TV, right? So I watched it. And I'm like, yes, aliens are real. I'm looking at all this tech. And then I watched on YouTube, there's a series called Debunking Ancient Aliens, or Ancient Aliens Debunked. And they just show you, they're like, okay, he's telling you this is a right angle, but watch the level that he has isn't even 90 degrees. Like, there's a gap there, and he's telling you it's 90 degrees. So you just remember that it's 90 degrees, but he's showing you that it's not. So it's not as precise as you would think. So it's quite possible.
Show, yeah, it is a show. I mean, I think there's a lot of good documentaries that are legit. But I like the ones that really state a lot of good facts, but yes, there's a lot of them that are full of shit. I mean, there's a lot of funny ones. Like I said, that Behind the Curve, it's about flat earthers. Watch it, man. It's funny.
I'm not gonna say I did or didn't see that. Is that the one where they covered the convention too, that was in Raleigh, North Carolina?
I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Could have been.
I'll watch any of that stuff, man. I love seeing people with ideas that are just way out in left field and try to explain it, just to see why and how they process stuff.
They live it, and they have a huge following. This guy, I can't remember his name, but He's big in that community, and they have a lot of followers, and they're all about it. And look, I mean, it's fine if that's what you think. It's fine. I'm not throwing shade on anybody, but I mean, but it's funny to watch because there are things in there that I think they contradict themselves a little bit. Like I said, like they ran the test and it was like, all right, that didn't work. What's the next thing you're going to do to try to prove? But then it's the stories they tell about how things are flat, and it's just, I don't know. It's crazy that people actually put that much thought into that.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to prove that it's flat. I guess they also go through the whole thing of how going to the moon was fake, how we faked it on Hollywood studios and things like that too. And they've talked about that. They've talked about situations where they filmed a lot of the them practicing, because they did practice here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about how they filmed a lot of that stuff. They actually did do that, but they didn't put it out in public as this is us on the moon.
Mm-hmm. Well, as well as I do, especially with apertures on a camera, that with that direct sunlight with no atmospheric dispersion that you're going to get on the moon, that white or very light colored suit is going to be so overexposed if you get the stars in the background. There's just no way that you can get both of those in a shot without some kind of crazy HDR, which would be more unrealistic looking than the shots that they've been given.
Especially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You imagine overlaying like 5 or 6 different images.
I know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess my question was why did we never go back? If we've been there, why don't we go back? But if there's nothing there,
why would we?
Back?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, if you're not going to colonize it and there's nothing we can do about it, why go visit a rock like that?
It's a lot like
that's why they put something different.
It's a lot like South Carolina, where I was born. I don't care much about going back there. There's nothing there either. I can imagine going to a big dirt clod that's floating around the earth and getting there, and you're like, well, there's a lot of nothing up here. And billions of dollars.
I think the main thing about that was just a fight with Russia to see if they could get there before them, I guess.
That was the big wiener competition. See who's got the biggest whop it on the table.
Yeah, that's another thing they used to debunk the moon thing. It was like, why would they go through spending all that money to show that we didn't go? Now I know it was a race, and they would do that to try to show that we made it first.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shit ton of money to spend to prove that we made it first and not actually do it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. My opinion. My opinion, man.
Who knows? I mean,
conspiracy theories.
Am I agreeing with the possibility it was faked? It's plausible. But
yeah, I mean, anything is plausible. I mean, yeah, they could have faked it. I just don't think they did.
I just don't know why they would. I think they're just more bored with the lack of anything interesting there, unless the dark side of the moon still has that huge alien base on it that they keep talking about.
It could be. Maybe that's where all the alien spacecraft are coming from.
Have you read anything about the dark side of the moon, or where those first astronauts allegedly saw crafts taking off?
No, I heard a song that they played about Dark Side of the Moon. So,
there's an album about it.
I think there's an album there, and I think there was a song there. Quite a few songs, I think, talked about the dark side of the moon.
There's a movie with Transformers in it, like robots that were cars.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Hey, that could happen. You never know.
It's quite possible. I mean, the moon is constantly facing us in the same spot. It doesn't rotate. So, I mean, it's a perfect hiding place, I guess.
I see cars riding around with the Transformer symbol on it.
100% robot right there.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, could it, I'm always waiting for it to like transform as we're riding down the road, that's a piece of shit car. Maybe it's going to transform into something nice.
Did you know that they actually Chevy made a Bumblebee version of the Camaro with Transformers logos, and inside the doors it says Transformers on the door sills, and that was factory. That wasn't AutoZone parts that you get now that most people put on there.
I did not.
They did. They
Would it
made
transform into Bumblebee?
no. It was just the same colorway as the movie, and then it had
Yeah.
like an Autobot symbol. I might have had it in the steering wheel, and on the door plates it said Transformers, if I'm not mistaken.
Nah, I didn't know that. They sell it for a lot of money.
I don't think it was an expensive kit, but I mean, it wasn't a cheap car anyway. You know, I don't know if they offered it in like an RS or an SS, package. I really just think it was the yellow car with black stripes, and then it was more of an upgrade and visual package. We probably need to Google that. Google it. I'm just gonna Google it. But I've seen them. I saw them when they came out because they were. I was living in Greenville when they came out, so I was working with Monster then. And
oh, really?
Yeah, so it had come out around that time. What was that?
Okay.
2012-ish.
That was the Bumblebee Chevrolet.
Yeah, Bumblebee Camaro. Yeah, so you can find that bad boy. What years it was offered?
Let's see what it says. There it is. Images for Bumble Camaro. That's what it says. I don't know what kind of Chevy. Oh, here you go. Was it oh no, that was a 1967. That's not the one. It's definitely not the one.
Yeah, I think that was the car that was used in the movie before he scanned a new Camaro and became the new Camaro. And that's when Witwicky got super excited that he had a new car instead of that raggedy old rusted Camaro.
So here's one. It says 4 Bumblebee Chevrolet Camaros sell for $500,000.
Well, those probably were movie used props. They have to be because that Camaro did not sell for that much. It was a factory option.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, it's the car. It's a good looking car. I've never been a big Camaro fan, but it's a good looking car. I wouldn't buy it, but if it would take me to the dark side of the moon, I guess I would.
It was a 2010 Transformers Special Edition. So that's what it was called.
10. Okay. 11 years ago?
Yeah. The Rally Yellow Camaro. It was only a $1,000 package.
I wonder how many people did it.
It says the cheesy package was available on the Camaro LT or SS with or without the RS appearance package. So as long as it was Rally Yellow, they could put it on there. And then we suggest starting with the 400 plus V8 SS model if you want your Bumble to rumble. Yeah, that's
a lot of people that did that too.
Yeah, I wonder what those are worth right now. I want to scan that and see what's up. 2010 Chevy Camaro Bumblebee Edition.
Be worth a lot of money, man.
I doubt it. I 100% doubt
it too.
Oh, what? Let's go to shopping. You think it'll be under shopping?
I'll check and see if does Megan Fox, is she selling it, or
is she still dating Machine Gun Kelly, or was she? I saw she was in a video.
I think she still is. Yeah, they're pretty hot and heavy.
Wow, she left Brian Austin Green for some reason. I have a friend that I grew up with who says I looked like that dude, but I don't. Maybe in our younger days.
I was gonna say maybe a long time ago.
90210.
Of course, I haven't seen him in a long time either. He might have put on some weight. You never know.
Hey, easy with the weight stuff, man. I get it.
Not saying you've put on weight, but
But I mean,
put on a few pounds since last time.
I'm collecting LBs, baby.
I know. I saw a picture back at ECSC. You look like you weigh. I think we talked about this before. You look like you weighed like 185 pounds.
Yeah,
maybe.
I was at that time. I think we talked about that. I was like 205, 210.
Yeah.
So that was.
Hadn't seen that in a long time, huh?
210? No. Even when I was running Spartan races, I was down to like 225 maybe. But I got down to 190 before I quit working out all the time.
Not bad.
Well, I was mostly surfing.
I'm settling somewhere right around 190 or so right now, 190 to 193.
Yeah, you're what, like, how tall are you? Like 5'11"?
5'10", 5'11", I don't know, whatever the doctor says.
Right.
I'd probably say I'm probably more of a really good 5'10". You know, I don't think I'm quite 5'11".
Let's see. Camaro. I don't think this is going to allow me to get my search all too crazy. I really want to know what these are worth now. Maybe eBay is the best place to go. What do you think?
Well, no, I've never looked for a car on eBay. Matter of fact, I don't even shop on eBay.
I
don't think I've ever bought anything on eBay ever.
What? I've made over, I mean, it's not a whole lot, but I've made over 1,000 transactions just selling stuff alone.
I don't do that. I mean, I don't know. Amazon's my go-to, man.
Yeah, but you also don't dabble in a BS crappy hobby of selling comics and toys on the side either.
No, I mean, the only thing I've tried to sell that I got that was sort of a hobby is my Canon 5D Mark II, and I gave that to Christopher. So after I tried to do it a long time ago and I couldn't, so I ended up, when he got old enough, I gave it to him. But even before then, you couldn't get nothing for it.
Oh wow.
$2,500 camera, ain't worth $500 now. Still shoots great.
You said you gave it to Christopher?
Yeah, Christopher's got it. That's a great camera for him.
I know. I mean, I still like my 7D, and that thing. It says the value's $500, but if I could get $500 for that thing, I would take it in a heartbeat.
I wouldn't sell this thing, even if Christopher wasn't interested in it. I wouldn't sell it. It's good. I like to keep it up there. It's sitting right back there somewhere.
Right.
I just like to keep it in there. Yeah, it still shoots. I mean, it shoots great video too, man. And shoot that thing at 24 frames a second.
But
1080p though.
There's not been a single Bumblebee Transformers special edition car sold on eBay in any recent time. The most expensive thing that sold was the 2010 to 2015 door sill inserts, which say Transformers on them, for $220. So I guess nobody really cared about this version.
They didn't, man. Nobody gave a shit about that.
Bro, they made like 20 of them. That's going to be $100,000 car by the time we retire. Buy them up, son.
I mean, it was a good movie. I mean, you know, but it's not something that somebody's going to go spend a shit ton of money for no car. I mean, not unless it actually transformed into a Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some crazy guys that have done some custom cars with hydraulics that turn into robots. I don't know if you can drive them on the street at any speed, but they're pretty neat. They don't do very much. They stand up and then they lay back down into a car position. Pretty cool janky.
To see, man. I don't know if I would ever do that to my vehicle, but it would be cool to see one driving down the road at 80 miles an hour and flip into a robot. That'd be pretty cool. You
might want to just get your expectations down to maybe a Christmas parade at very slow speeds first. You need to Google that and see some of those videos. They're neat, but you're like, that's a whole lot of customizing of a car that's worth absolutely nothing.
I'd be worried. I'd be worried when it went back to the car, all the shit didn't go back right.
Well, then there's not a whole lot of, there's a lot of moving parts, but there's not a lot of moving parts to the point where you're like, that doesn't seem like it would fit back together.
Right.
But like in the movie, there's a billion parts, it looks like.
Yeah, there's a ton. And it's, so you wonder how it even goes back into like a semi truck, like what's his face,
Optimus.
Yeah, all that shit he's got on him, and he goes into a semi truck,
and he's perfectly just clean. All the nuts and bolts and random panels are tucked away.
It's good movies, man. But
I mean, they're Michael Bay stuff. I think you get a lot of extra hate for no reason. They're just fun popcorn movies. If you're looking for some Macbeth style storytelling, that's definitely not the place to be. Same way with the King Kong Godzilla thing, you know.
I think Michael Bay gets a lot of flack for his stuff is because all the explosions and crazy lights and all that kind of stuff, the anamorphic stuff that he shoots, you know.
Oh, he's got lens flares in every scene.
Lens flares and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people give him a lot of shit for, especially people who film stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, look, man, he's doing it. I mean, if
Yeah.
you hate it so much, you go make the movie without doing all that.
Yep.
You know, see how many times people want to see it. I mean, it's just funny how people hate on shit like that.
How
So
many?
you got a guy that's super successful, you hate on the way he does. Oh, yeah, but you see the way he shoots. Well, I don't see the way you're shooting anything.
Yeah, then nobody's paying you for millions of dollars to
Yeah.
shoot it the way you want to shoot it.
Yeah, I don't see Mark Wahlberg knocking down your door to be in your movie. I mean, you know, when's the last time you filmed a Transformer movie?
Yeah.
You know, I think I would just shut the fuck up and just go either go watch the movie or don't go watch it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
that's what it's.
as even an artist whatsoever, from any visual standpoint, I've found that as I've gotten older and I've done it more, that I respect that people go out and do it, you know, because of how much time and effort. And if you like it enough to be able to dedicate that much time to it, kudos on you. It might not be the way I like it, but I know how much time it takes to do whatever it is you're going to do. And if you're going to commit that much time to it, you're doing it. You know, you're going to get better and you're going to eventually find your own style if you keep doing it, because it's so time intensive. You're dedicating a tremendous amount of your personal life to making any of that stuff happen.
You know, your vision's not what somebody else's vision's going to be.
No.
So that guy shooting that movie that had somebody write it, had somebody film it, had somebody color it, had somebody do all this stuff. Yeah, you might not like it. You don't have to watch that movie. It's easy to sit there and critique a movie after it's been shot, made, and all that. And look, there's some shitty movies out there, but you know, not everything's going to win awards, and not everything that wins awards should win awards.
Right.
That's how I see it. But it's like you said, it is labor intensive to do something like that. You think of what goes through making a film like Transformers.
Oh, dude,
You know?
the special
Not
effects
just shooting
shots.
it. Huh?
The special effect shots. I mean, you're like 2 years of
everything.
animation.
I mean, it's insane. I would love to see like a timeline of that, you know, editing timeline of that.
You want to see the credits of the moon landing?
Yeah. There you go.
Just the you know, just all those people that you see at the end when those credits roll for 10 minutes when the movie's done. Every one of those people had a crucial part in making that film, and they spent as much time as you do at your job every week on it for the year they were shooting.
Yeah, and some of them don't get paid a lot of money either.
Yeah.
It's just they get credit, but that's what the wife said. I don't know what movie it was we watched, and she was watching the credits. She said it wasn't long ago. It was like a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. She said, "Man, I did not realize how many people it takes to make a movie." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's you don't have just a guy with a camera and a guy. I mean, you have people. Just people do everything. There's a little something that everybody specializes in, and people that do more than one job. But there's a crazy shit that they have somebody there to take care of. You know, that's why the list is so long. It takes that many people to make the whole thing go, man. You know,
I mean, you know as well as I do, if you're out there and you've got, you know, you're the director, but you're also trying to run the camera or anything like that. It's just so much to take in. There's no way you can do any of it well unless you just get lucky.
Yeah, I know you can't. It's you can't do everything. There's just no way. I mean, just to run a camera is enough to take care of. A day's work. If you're behind a camera, that's basically all you could really do.
Yep.
You know, that's all you can focus on. You got so much shit to focus on when it's that. But I don't know, man. It's I don't know. It's tough. People don't understand until they get there and they see how everything's done. So
I think everybody should at least be on set of something being shot and see how much time one is wasted and how many people are waiting around for the one guy to do something so they can do their job. at any given time, and it's a whole lot of hurry up and wait. But there's a whole lot of people doing important things, but everything has to fall in place.
Yep.
I mean, you have those random movies that are shot on low budget, like, Skeleton Crew or whatnot, but you still watch those credits, and there's hundreds of people that worked on it.
Still a lot, man. There's still a lot of people. It takes a lot to do a movie, a film, short film, anything. It takes a lot, from shooting to audio to editing, everything. It just takes a lot. So, but we just hit the hour and a half mark, man, which is a good timeline too.
Dude, we could talk about this stuff for hours and hours and hours and hours.
For hours.
Just do the whole series, right? Just keep at the random conspiracy theories and just let it roll into whatever it rolls into.
Yeah, we'll pull in some different ones next time. So
it's good talking to you, brother.
We'll do it again, man. All right,
Peace.
See you.